Here we are again, talking about Brandon Aiyuk. When I first started this channel, this topic was particularly hot with the Commanders and Brandon Aiyuk. We're back again after Diana Rossini and Mike Silver reported something that is very, very interesting, and that is very interesting for the Washington Commanders, and they should be favorites for this just based off what happened when we were talking about Brandon Aiyuk a few off seasons ago and how Adam Peters should trade for him and do all these things to try to get him. We're back in these streets. So we're going to talk about him again today. Make sure you guys leave your opinions in the comment section on this. Make sure you guys leave a like on this video. Subscribe to the channel. We're trying to reach 3,000 subscribers. I cannot do without you. Now, let's go ahead and get into today's video. So, there was a report from Diana Rossini basically saying that the 49ers and wide receiver All-Pro, wide receiver Brandon Aiyuk are basically done. Now, we don't know exactly if this is going to be a trade or a release, but from what I've heard, it looks like Brandon Aiyuk is going to be released by the San Francisco 49ers, and that opens up a very, very interesting door for the Commanders that maybe they should take a walk through, because they've shown interest in Brandon Aiyuk. It was no secret that they wanted Brandon Aiyuk, or not wanted, but maybe had some interest in Brandon Aiyuk, and it's no secret that Adam Peters obviously helped draft Brandon Aiyuk, and that Jaden Daniels, that's his homeboy, Brandon Aiyuk. So it's a topic that a lot of Commanders fans discussed already after the report came out. I've seen a lot of tweets about it. We're here to discuss it today. So basically, Brandon Aiyuk, obviously he, tore his knee up bad. He ruined his knee in his last injury, and that's going to cause a lot of different opinions just based off that. But he's had to sit out for a while, and Brandon Aiyuk has not attended 49er team functions or team meetings that are in his contract to get to come to. He has not come to those functions or meetings, and again, on his contract, you're required to come to those meetings and those functions and those things that your team does. You're required to come to that, and he has not come to that. Now, teammates have reached out to him, coaches have reached out to him, and he has been completely silent. He is desperate to be out of San Francisco, and I think that the GM of the 49ers and Kyle Shanahan's probably ready for him to be, to move on too. I mean, they would have loved if everything would have just worked out normal, but they're not going to put up with this, right? So he's been a guy in locker rooms that has not been very pleasant. He's been a diva, and that's also one of the things that's going to cause a lot of the problems here when we talk as Commanders fans about if you want him or if you don't want him. So basically the 49ers are voiding his guarantees in his contract because he is not listening. He is not coming to the functions. He's not coming to the meetings. He's not attending these certain things. And so they're voiding his contract. And this is so bad that Brandon Aiyuk has not even challenged the NFLPA because he's desperate to be out of San Francisco. I mean, he does not want to be here anymore. And again, when teammates have reached out to him, he's been completely silent. That's what we've heard. So he's not challenging the NFLPA to even get his guarantees back. He doesn't want him. So, I mean, sure, he wants him, but he's not going to fight for it. He wants out of San Francisco. So we know that Jaden Daniels is still on his rookie contract, and we've had this conversation before. You have to be aggressive, right? We've said that before, and this would be being aggressive. Now, if we're going to have to trade for Brandon Aiyuk, that's too aggressive for me. I'm out. I don't want to trade for Brandon Aiyuk. I want to make that very clear. However, if Brandon Aiyuk is cut, I'm interested because you're getting Brandon Aiyuk, a former All-Pro receiver, at a slight discount, if that. This would be a very good deal for the Commanders if he is released. Now, it is leaning towards that way, that he is going to be released. So if that's the case, I'm very, very interested in this. I'm very interested in Brandon Aiyuk. However, this is a huge risk. And we've talked about Adam Peters and risks and risk-taking. You have a chance to pair Brandon Aiyuk with Terry McLaurin, possibly with Deebo Samuel if you decide to re-sign him. and Brandon Aiyuk, and we've seen that duo together. We have, and you just kind of be replacing a guy like Noah Brown with a better player than Noah Brown, but he does get injured. That's another thing that you have to take into consideration. Brandon Aiyuk gets hurt all the time. Also, another thing that you may have to consider is Brandon Aiyuk may want a new contract in a few years. And that's maybe not something you're willing to take on. And that may be something that is not attainable for you. You can't do that, right? You don't want to pay him that money. So those are all things you have to consider for the future. Again, he is a diva in the locker room. He's a guy that is not has been known to be a little disruptive in the locker room. I mean, however you want to put it, he's been bad in the locker room, right? But I've told you guys in the past that, I don't mind adding some of these guys. I don't mind adding some of these stars that are, have a little bit of an attitude problem. If they're going to bring value to my football team, I don't really mind adding a guy that's a little bit of a head case. I don't mind that. We need more of those on this football team. I've told you that. I want more of those guys. But I don't want a guy that's going to obviously disrupt the locker room and obviously going to be injured all the time. So it's really, for me, I'm just going back and forth. It's not going to be, again, you're going to get him at a discount. So, you're getting him at a good value probably. But again, you're going to have to deal with those injuries in the future. You're going to have to deal with maybe some of the locker room stuff. Now, ultimately, maybe he's just shut and quiet in the locker room, because ultimately, I think what Brandon Aiyuk really wants is to play with Jaden Daniels. I mean, they hang out all the time in the offseason. They are locked in together. They're friends, Pauls. They're friends, really good friends, and they've been really good friends for a while. I mean, you don't even just look past their NFL careers. In college, they played together at Arizona State, and they were a lethal duo there. So you have to look at that as well. I think Brandon Aiyuk really just wants to play with Jaden Daniels and wants to be a Washington Commander, which we have not said that about many players. But when you have a guy like Jaden Daniels and a coach like Dan Quinn, for some guys, that's just hard to pass up on. And so he might even take more of a discount just due to those reasons. So you also have to take that into consideration. And I think that the Commanders should be top favorites for Brandon Aiyuk. Just again, after the disputes that we heard, not really disputes, the talks that we heard a few off seasons ago about Brandon Aiyuk maybe coming to the Washington Commanders before that 2024 season. And again, you'd have a chance to pair him with Terry McLaurin, with again, if you re-sign Deebo Samuel, you'd have a chance to do that. You'd have a chance to teach younger guys like Jalen Lane, Luke McCaffrey. This has been one of the best route runners in the NFL when he's been on the field. But again, he's not on the field that much. He's hurt a lot of the time. So I'm back and forth, and I haven't fully made my decision yet. I think if they do release Brandon Aiyuk, we should definitely tap in and try to get him, see what exactly he's looking for, what kind of money he wants. But I think we'd be the top favorites, and I think he'd choose us any day just because of Jaden Daniels. And again, Adam Peters has shown interest in Brandon Aiyuk before by drafting him and then by trying to get him before the 2024 season. So you're going to have to be a little bit more expensive this offseason. I've already told Adam Peters that. I've already told you guys that. He's going to have to be more expensive. So we'll see. But I just really... I'm interested in this. Again, if he's released, I'm interested. If he's gonna have to be traded to somewhere, I'm not. We don't really have draft capital for anything, and we don't want to trade for anybody really right now. There's no trades on the table for the Commanders this offseason. I think we all know that. Last offseason, there was trades because we felt like we were a few moves away from a Super Bowl because we made it to the NFC Championship. But we know that we have to rebuild now, and we can't be spending all these draft picks on certain players who, again, this is a huge risk. Injury prone, locker room guy. You just have to look at that. So if he's released, I'll be interested. I'll be probably making another video about this, but I did want to give you guys this report that he could be on his way to the Washington Commanders. They are not in a good situation in San Francisco. They are not agreeing on anything, and he has not been coming to the team meetings and functions and team things. So just keep an eye on this situation. But I'm very interested in Brandon Aiyuk. He's 27 years old. And so that's still sort of young for what we have right now. We have to make this wide receiver room a little bit we have to make this wide receiver room a little bit younger. Again, the other thing you have to consider is his knee is shredded beef. It's not in a good place right now. His knees, it's still going to take time to recover. However, he could return to the field in a few weeks from now. So that's what we've heard. So that's going to do it for me, though. I hope you guys have a great rest of your Saturday. No video tomorrow because there's no really point to do that. If there's any breaking news, obviously I'll cover it, but I don't think there will be. Enjoy the bye week. Chill tomorrow. There's no reason to be all tapped in and worried about football tomorrow. Take a break from this team. Obviously, I'll be watching all the games, but take a break from this team. We'll reconvene on Monday, and I'll see what you guys are up to. Probably have some new news, definitely some updates from Dan Quinn. He said that he'll have Noah Brown, Terry McLaurin, Jaden Daniels updates on Monday for us. So very interested to hear what those are. So we'll definitely be back on Monday. But for right now, that's going to do it for me. Hail to the Washington Commanders. As always, see you guys in the next one. And good night.